This is Adasabat Saiwan returning with the Nephilim, and we are on to part 3. We're going to look at more of their evil technologies. Now, before I get started, I wanted to let you know that if you hear any buzzing in the background, it is very hot here today, and my computer needs to be kept cool. In fact, computers need to be kept cool, and this is the best I can do to keep it as cool as possible so I can get through with this study and to present it to you. So if you hear it in the background, my apologies. And another thing, okay, yes, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is briefly, because this is another long study, is the reason why I'm doing this extensive study about the technologies of the Nephilim, because we have to know. We have to know. We cannot hide our heads in the sand and pretend that this does not exist. And we cannot go on the premise that it is all just a coincidence or it doesn't really affect us or what have you. Once we become informed and we know what is actually going on and why it's going on, then when it comes down to decision time, we can make wise decisions. All right? It is only when we are ignorant of the truth or we have no understanding, then we will make foolish decisions and perish. So I'm showing you these technologies and what have you, all this that is about the Nephilim's inventions. I'm showing them to you so that you will know why things are happening today as they're happening, why things are escalating. Yes, Alahayam is allowing them to do these things with certain limitations, of course. But at the same time, we cannot pretend it doesn't, or they, and what they're doing don't exist. Once we know who the true enemies are and their devices, then we can make informed decisions and choose wisely and live. And not just live on this earth, but live forevermore in the kingdom of Alahayam. All right, so let's get started because this is going to be a long study. All right, try not to go off track. All right, okay. We now will look more at these evil devices that are doing more than corrupting the world, but they will be used in the future to spy on people. As a matter of fact, all of our devices, whether cell phones, tablets, or computers, relay information to the powers that be to know what we are watching and what websites we visit. So you might think, oh, it's so cool that I have these really cool cameras on my iPhone or what have you, but it wasn't put there for your entertainment. It was put there so that they can spy on us. All right. I remember back in the day when we had cell phones, we were able to take the batteries out. Now, a lot of cell phones, you can't really take the batteries out, especially the iPhone. Can't take the battery out. Even if you turn it off, they can turn it back on remotely and listen in to your conversations. And they can actually track where you are as well. I remember the first time this happened to me, this was many years ago, and I landed, I can't remember where it was, somewhere. I landed, I went someplace or the other, and when I got to my destination and I turned on my phone welcomed me and say, for example, if I went to Toronto, welcome to Toronto, right? They know where you are. They can track you using your devices. All right. Even if you may turn off the program or what have you, they can still remotely turn it back on, and we don't know what they have hidden in the background. Okay? They call it the algorithm, but it is a spy machine. Even the reCAPTCHA is used to tell what websites we have visited, and many other activities that we may be doing online is also relayed. They lie to us to tell us it is Google's way of telling if it is a human or a bot, meaning a robot, that is accessing a particular website with the reCAPTCHA. And the funny thing about reCAPTCHA is if you don't click yes, right, you can't get onto that website. They made it so on purpose. They made it that way on purpose. Then there's the entertainment speakers called Alexa and Ring.com. I'm sure there are others, but people fall in love with Alexa, right? They love this technology where you don't need to go and flick a button or switch or what have you to turn on the radio or to tune the radio. Remember back in the day, you had to turn on the radio and then you had to tune it. You had to pull up the antenna, all these different things. People don't want to do those things anymore. They want to speak to the speaker and tell it, turn on, and tell them what you want to hear, what you want to listen to. And then you have Ring.com, which is the video doorbell that records everything outside your home. I know there are a lot of TikTok videos and what have you that show all these different strange events, whether strange or funny, and people will be encouraged to go and get this device. All this is to spy on us. Not to mention the television and other appliances that will be able to record all that you say and do. So they're going to make your televisions and the television, we know, can spy on people. But your other appliances, like your refrigerator and all that, I remember I went into a smart house. This is back in the day, like many years ago, I would say about 10 years ago, or maybe just about 9 years ago. And this smart house, this guy was saying that, oh yes, the refrigerator will be able to tell you what you're low on in the refrigerator, whether you're low on milk or butter or cheese or what have you, so that you don't have to keep track. The refrigerator will keep track for you, right? And I had to ask him, why would I need my refrigerator to do something that I'm so used to doing? It's all part of living. Oh, because you'll have more time on your hands. More time to do what? If the house is cooking for me, because that's what he's saying too. You could, you have these arms that would come down and cook you a meal, and refrigerator telling you what you're low on or whatnot. I mean, like, with all these devices, what else? Okay, what are we being freed up to do? Okay, except to lay around and play on their devices, where we don't have to use our noggins anymore. We don't have to think. Everything is thought for us, thought out for us. All right? Making us lazy. And this is what's happening now today with children, because computers now are in the schools. And they're indoctrinating children into computers. And I always thought that that was wrong, because now what is suffering with these children, like their signatures, they can't write. Because if you have buttons that have letters on them, and you type out an essay or what have you, and then you try to handwrite it, it's totally illegible. Their handwriting is atrocious. Remember back in the day when I was in elementary school, we had to learn cursive writing, cursive letters. All these things was part of our learning. But today, none of that is done anymore. None of that. Okay? And it's sad, because there's something that is missing. The joy of being able to use your hands and your minds and coordinate the two is going to be missing with these people, with these children. And when they grow up to be adults, then there's even going to be more missing. And we're going to see that later on in this study. They call them smart devices because we are the dummies who purchased them to place ourselves under their control if we fall in love with them. You could have them, but it doesn't mean that you have to love them, because when the day comes, or when the time comes and you have to walk away from them, you can with joy toss them aside because you're not in love with them. The newer devices are becoming more and more intrusive, with the cameras and speakers being able to be remotely turned on to spy on us. That's why when you go, even if you're talking on the phone and then you go on online, certain things will show up on your feed that you were talking about because they're listening. In the near future, once the Beast Empire and the Anti-Messiah come on the scene, they will use these devices and more to keep a close eye on everyone to truly bring about the New World Order. So the New World Order is going to be Beast Empire number 7, which is a technology-based empire. That's why technology is so high right now. It's everywhere. This will be the way of the world in the near future. In the meanwhile, all that we can do is to remain faithful and obedient to Alahayam, to worship Him and Him alone, and to love not the things of this world. So let's look at 1 Yohanan chapter 2, verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of Abba is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of Abba, but is of the world. And the world passes away, and the lust thereof. But he that does the will of Alahayam abides forever. And we looked at this in the previous study. Actually, it was at the ending of the previous study. But this is so ideal for us that we cannot love the world and the things that are in the world. Because if you love the world and the things that are in the world, it will cause you to not love Alahayam Yahawah, because He is the direct opposite of the world and the things of this world. All right? He's the direct opposite. So you will love the one and hate the other. The devils want us to lust after their technology and to despise our humanity because we may seem weak as compared to the options that they have offered us and advertised time and time again. So remember in part 1 when I spoke about the brainwashing, the programming and brainwashing, and we looked at all these different television series and movies to show you that they want us to despise ourselves, to see ourselves as weak. And they are given options to overcome that weakness. All right? That's why they have those movies out there. And we're being programmed over and over again, especially if you don't know it, excuse me, if you don't recognize it as programming, you might think, well, you might give into those thoughts that, hey, maybe, possibly, if I, take some of this stuff, whatever stuff they want to offer, then I will be able to speed read. I'm just using this as an example. I'm able to speed read, or I'm able to think faster, or be more intelligent, or what have you. What have you? To be more stronger, to be more connected to my devices, what have you. Anything but being human is being rejected today, is being looked down upon, being frowned upon, because they want us to despise ourselves. We were created in the image of Alahayam Yahawah, and yet because of sin, yes, our image have been marred, but once we believe in Hamashiach, now we're cloaked in the righteousness of His Son, and He can once again look upon us. Until the day where we gathered and all these different things are removed, the sin nature and the hideousness of this flesh. All right? We can be renewed. So they don't want us to remain as we are, waiting for that time of redemption where we will be changed forever. They want us to skip Alahayam, right? And head to them for that change, to be transformed. All right. Many people watch movies and television series about superheroes, and they love these kinds of shows because they are highly entertaining and at the same time offer mankind the idea of being enhanced, just like they're superheroes. Do you remember the one called Captain America? He was like this weak little skinny guy. When he first joined the army, he was even shorter. He was the shortest person in the crowd. He volunteered for some experiment, and all of a sudden he came out like 6'7". Well, no, he'll be a little shorter than that. But he came out a good few inches taller, stronger, bigger, faster, even better looking. I'm telling you, they're telling you like all you need to do is take our stuff, take whatever we offer you, and you can be like Captain America. All right? You can be big and strong and handsome too. I think they got the female version of that one too, because they want to hit both genders, right? Oh my goodness. I mean, once you gotta laugh at it, because if you really sit down and think about it, you'll be so highly offended you'll want to spit fire. Seriously. Anyway, let's move on. Despite the desire to make us all hybrids like them, they are also using technology to deceive our senses and to turn us away from living according to how Alahayam wants us to live. And we're going to see that later on. I mean, these people, they really are using all their evil to really destroy the fabric of the family network, the basics of humanity, right? And they've taken great joy in doing that, because these creatures hate humanity. They hate mankind because they are not us. They were never us. They were and are the Nephilim, creatures of darkness. Now, I wanted to look at this in the previous study, but I ran out of time. This is called Project Bluebeam. Now, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this, but this came about. I remember hearing about this at least about, I don't know, 8 years ago or so, but some time ago. But now, if you go on the internet and you try to find this information about this, you're not going to find too much information. You might find a sprinkling if you look hard enough. And the sprinkling is there to just debunk it. All right? Now, when I first looked into this, and there were so many people talking about it. Right? They had their YouTube channels and everything. Can't find any of that anymore. You might be able to find something on Rumble or BitChute, but you're not going to find it here on this particular platform, that's for sure. But then again, you might, I don't know. But what is Project Bluebeam? Today, you will not find any independent information concerning this technology. What you will find are the fact checkers debunking what it is and why it was created. And you will be hearing repeatedly conspiracy theory. All these things that I'm mentioning to you, even the chemtrails, conspiracy theory, because they want people that go to do their own homework now when they come across the information that is offered by the Nephilim. That first thing that they're going to say is conspiracy theory. All right? Or this person that said it was a conspiracy theorist. Because they're setting the foundation now for you to doubt the truth and to believe them. All right, let's read. Now, there's this guy named Serge Monast. He, 1945 to 1996, was a Canadian investigative journalist, poet, essayist, and conspiracy theorist. This is what they said about him. He was a conspiracy theorist. He was known to English-speaking readers mainly for originating the conspiracy theory Project Bluebeam, which concerns an alleged plot to use a totalitarian world government by destroying traditional religions and replacing them with a new age belief system using not a straight answer technology. And not a straight answer is, of course, NASA. And this is taken from Wikipedia. Now let's read what the Times of India has to say. Project Bluebeam is a conspiracy theory about a supposed project whose purpose is to create an artificial second coming in order to control people. As per the alleged theory, the New World Order's purpose is 1. To abolish all Christian and traditional religions in order to replace them with a one world religion based on the cult of man, meaning the anti-Messiah. 2. To abolish all national identities and national pride in order to establish a world identity and a world pride. Point number 3. To abolish the family as known today in order to replace them with individuals all working for the glory of the new world, the new one world government. And like I said, it was taken from the Times of India in August of 2008. And since that time, all three of these points are in effect today. All three of them. In 2008, it would not have been heard of, but this is 2024. 16 years later, and we're seeing the rise of the New World Order. We're seeing them abolishing religions and creating one world, one religion. And we're seeing the destruction of the family structure. We're seeing it. It's happening. So they call it a conspiracy theory. But how could it be a conspiracy theory that is coming to pass? That's why when you see those two words, ignore them. Now, despite the fact that all independent information is now deleted from the web, the powers that be still have to leave some of the truth there, but they negate it by calling it a conspiracy theory. The article above was written in the year 2008. Yet every point that it made is happening right before our very eyes in 2024 and or prophesied by Hamashiach. So Hamashiach even warned us, even way back then, all these things that are going to happen today. Matthew chapter 24, verse 23. And if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Mashiach, or there, believe it not, for they shall arise false messiahs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning comes from out of the east and shines even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Now, when I heard about Project Bluebeam, it was stated that they're going to use this to usher in the Messiah. All right? But we knew at that time that it was going to be the anti-Messiah. Right? And the Project Bluebeam is actually a holographic image, right? To make us think that something is coming when it's not. But along with that's why I showed you this elephant. This elephant is a 3D hologram. All right? And their technology today is even more sophisticated than this. And they can make you think that something is coming or something is there when it is not. Because they have the technology. All right? And that's why they were talking about this even way back in the day when I first heard about it, that this is how the anti-Messiah is going to be introduced to the world. And that's why Hamashiach said, if they say that he is there, meaning the Messiah is in the desert or in the chamber, he said, don't believe him. Don't believe them. He said, because every eye is going to see me when I come. All right? We are seeing all the pieces coming together for Project Bluebeam. For one thing, we are seeing the dismantling of the family unit, the coming together of the one world religion and government. And now we're hearing from government officials about the existence of aliens and unidentified flying ships. So, how then can Project Bluebeam be a conspiracy theory? That's what they want us to feel and to believe, especially if you've never heard of it before. On the left, we have a 3D image projecting almost realistically from a building. This, along with the Bluebeam project, will convince the world of the coming anti-Messiah as the true Messiah with signs and wonders, as Hamashiach had warned us. He said he's going to cause fire to fall from the sky. All these are their technology that they're going to utilize to make people believe that he is the Messiah. The Vatican has a telescope named VAT for Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope sitting on a mountain called Mount Graham near Tucson, Arizona. Why would the Vatican, a religious organization, need a powerful telescope staring into the sky? Ages ago, scientific findings were once in conflict with the Catholic Church doctrines. However, the Vatican today is seeking to promote its observatory as a bridge to science. Science will be the new religion on the earth. As a matter of fact, science is the new religion on the earth because science means knowledge. And that knowledge comes from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Does not come from Alahayam. That's why they want to use science to refute and to deny the existence of Alahayam Yahawah and the fact that he created the world and everything in it. The Nephilim are looking for the moment when Hamashiach will come with his angels to regather his people, the southern kingdom. These devils know that once this occurs, then it is only a matter of 7 years remaining before they are completely destroyed. So they set up this grand telescope, this great big telescope on this mountain because they're keeping an eye on the heavens. They're waiting for that time when Hamashiach is coming to do whatever wickedness they're hoping to do, but he's going to paralyze them all. Remember, darkness is coming, and with the darkness that comes, everything will be paralyzed. And I had an experience of that in my dream. Spoke about it in my last, well, it's not really a study, but my last video. Everything, even the devils, are going to be paralyzed. All right? So they can't do anything. All they can hope for is that they will see him before he comes, but they can't see him before he comes because darkness is going to cover the earth. So that there goes their hope down the drain. Matthew chapter 24, verse 30. Then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So the whole earth is going to see him, and the devils will not be able to touch him because he's coming with great power and great glory. How can you touch the King of glory? They're the devils. They're the fallen angels. They are the fallen angels. They have no power over him. All right, so now we move on to nanotechnology. And I'm going to be a little bit cryptic with my words here because of the algorithm that is picking up on certain things. And one of my videos already got taken down. In fact, my second video got taken down just a couple days ago. And they claim they took it down because of medical misinformation, because I mentioned D-N-A- without the dashes. Unbelievable. But hey, they got to do what they have to do because I'm exposing them, right? So nano, robotics, or bots, tattoos, and the swallowable password authentication tablet. All right. So the first thing we're going to look at are these bots. And you see it here. You see how small it is? The same size as this here is our cells in our BLOOD. All right? BLOOD. Imagine you got to spell out words now. So this is DARPA, stands for the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. A long time ago, when independent information flowed on the web, it was said that Hell's Gates Foundation helped to fund this organization, probably even owns it. Oh, yeah. It was there. And actually, it wasn't even that long ago that I come across another project that they were working on, and he was mentioned. Anyways, they're taking a lot of stuff off the internet now. As you can see how incredibly small these nanobots are and how they can infiltrate our red cells with a poke to extract and to put in their technology to reprogram a person on a D-N-A level. Can you imagine? This was the purpose of the snake venom offered to people worldwide in 2021 and onward, to flood their bodies with these critters to reprogram them from the inside. Because of the algorithm on this platform, I have to use my words carefully, but I will give you enough clues as to what I am speaking about. Once these bots enter into your body, they cannot be taken out. Once a person is reprogrammed, this action cannot be reversed. This then changes that person to be a hybrid, an abomination in the eyes of Alahayam. So all these people that think that, excuse me, that took the toxin in 2021 and onward and think all you have to do is do a cleanse, soak in a bath with Epsom salts and what have you. Listen, these things are in. You see how small they are? They're in there to stay. All right? And even if they should be purged out of our bodies, because, eventually they will, there are machines and they will die at some point in time. What they have put inside these red disc-like things here cannot be taken out. Look at the needle. You see that? That's a needle that is piercing this cell here. This is in our BLOOD. This is our red cells. All right? So what they've put in there cannot be taken out. To further confirm that this is true, sorry. To further confirm that this is true, the powers that be own the snake venom was reported saying that anyone who took their toxin are now their property and no longer considered a person. I remember this only a few years ago when it first came out and people started to take their poison. Every single one of those manufacturing companies, although they were producing the same poison but with different names, they said anyone that took their poison no longer belongs to themselves. They're no property of the person's toxin. Whoever's poison you took, you now belong to them. You now are their property. You are no property. I remember that being spoken. But you're not going to find that information anymore on the web because people spoke about it and said, what do you mean that we are no longer people? Like, it's too late. You took it, their property. Because their technology now that had merged with that person. Okay, let me read that over. This is because of their technology now that had merged with that person and now they're considered property and hybrids. They even told the people, you're no longer people. Imagine. And they said it bold-facedly, and I believe people were not capable of receiving those messages. But I remember I heard it with my own 2 ears. Acts chapter 7, verse 48. Howbeit, Ha'olah the Most High dwells not in temples made with hands, as said the prophet. So you become a hybrid, you have no chance of becoming a temple of Alahayam. Yes, we're flawed because of sin, but we can that can be changed once we're regathered. In fact, once we believe in Hamashiach and we're cloaked in his righteousness, he is satisfied with the temple. All right? Until we are regathered, and then everything can be cleansed out of us permanently, meaning the sin nature, and then we can be renewed. All right? But if you go and you change yourself from what he had created, there's no chance of being redeemed. No chance. And there are people out there preaching and teaching that all you need to do is say a prayer, just don't do it again. Just a tiny little slap on the hand, and well, you didn't have a choice because you had to do it for your job. What? I'm like, hello? No. We have to make decisions to choose either Alahayam and his word and follow and walk in his commandments or not. If we choose not to be obedient to him, then he considers us as rebels. And if we go one step further and submit to the evil powers and cause ourselves, our temples now to be corrupted and become an abomination, then he will reject us. Using their poisons and being changed inwardly will cause a person to be man-made. Because now we're man-made. This piece of machinery here turned us from being made by Alahayam to being man-made. All right, let's move on. Now we move on to the authentication tablet. And you can be a walking, talking authentication body for all devices and wherever it is needed and for whatever purposes. Can you imagine? These people are unbelievable. So this is what it looks like. A little pink tablet. And there's a video about it out there as well. The lady that spoke about it, okay, we're going to read a little bit more about her in a bit. Do you remember the days when your signature was sufficient to prove your identity? I remember you want to prove who you are. You write your signature, right? And if your signature matches with a document, a legal document that you have, then it is accepted. But not anymore. Then technology took off with the electronic card where you can swipe to do your banking, shopping, enter into a building or a hotel room. Next came the fob that will be attached to your keychain. Fob is it looks like a pin light, and you press a button and it unlocks whatever, right? Which open doors like your car doors, apartment buildings, and such. Sorry, excuse me. Next came the hand swipe, facial recognition, and now today they are introducing to us the swallowable authentication tablet. And I say tablet because I didn't want to say PILL. All right. Now this tablet was created by Motorola, and it is called the Edible Authentication Vitamin Tablet. And you can literally become the living, breathing human password that will allow you to unlock your electronic devices, amongst other things. Now, they put the word vitamin in there to make you think it is healthy. You see, these people are using psychology, even with their words. It is, in fact, an electronic tablet that will transmit an 18-bit EKG signal from your insides, which is referred to as a microcomputer's signal. The vice president of Motorola, which is this woman I'm talking to you about, said that it basically turns you into a cyborg. Do you remember cyborg? You remember I talked to you about the Borg in programming and brainwashing, part one of this series? You see what they're doing? They're purposely trying to change who we are. So let us learn more of what she said. It means that my arms are like wires, my hands are like alligator clips. When I touch my phone, my computer, my door, my car, I'm authenticated in. It's my first superpower. I want that. So you see what they're playing on? Without this device, you have to use a key or a fob or a card or what have you to get into your apartment building, to get into your cars or what have you. But with this pill, it can change all of that, and you now become a superhero with superpowers. You see what I'm saying to you? Need we say it anymore? We have learned from previous studies that these Nephilim want to turn us into hybrids. They want to turn us into cyborgs. They want us to be an abomination. Can you imagine? Unbelievable. This tablet can be taken up to 30 times a day, every day, to maintain your transmission. A question we need to ask: will this device ever be eliminated from the body? Ingestible transmitters like this one is here to stay, and we are going to see more of them. This is them reporting. These are not my words. This is them reporting. They will be placed in the MEDS, which will help doctors to know how well their patients are responding to the MEDS. All right? They will collect and stream real-time data like skin temperature, heart rate, and who knows what else. So this is just another way. If you leave your phone at home and you go somewhere, they don't know where you are. But if you have this stuff inside you, they can always track you where you are. If you look at the logo, it clearly tells you who is behind this invention. Nothing is ever a coincidence. The M is not for Motorola, but who they really are. They're Masons. The M also is a 3, which is also part of the Masons' identity, as in 33 and third degree. So do not be deceived. Remember I told you? No, I didn't. I think I said that before. But what I had said, what I had thought earlier today, and I thought I said it, but I did not, is when I first came into the knowledge of all this stuff that I'm sharing with you. It started off with this logos. This was back in the 90s. Somebody gave me a pamphlet. And on this pamphlet had all these different logos on it. And these logos were like Johnson & Johnson and Procter and Gamble, a whole bunch of different logos, popular logos, manufacturers that produce things that we use in our homes. And what this person showed me is that these symbols that we call logos have demonic attachments to them, and showed me what they truly represented. And that every time I buy these people's products, I'm contributing to their satanic cult or church or whatever they call themselves. And I made a decision back in the 90s that I would not purchase anything by these companies. And they even gave me a list of all the different items. And that was the beginning of me learning about logos. It started with logos and it moved on to what I'm showing you today. All right? And that's why do not take a logo for granted. Do not take it for granted. The logos, especially for these main companies, these big companies, have a purpose. All right? They're showing their affiliation and their alliance to the devils that they worship. All right, let's move on. Now we go to micro, and this is supposed to be needles, but I'm going to call them pins for now, and electronic tattoos. All right, so these micro pins. Now these are more of DARPA technologies, all in the name of science to help the white lab coats care for you. We know who those people are. And to administer poisons now and in the near future when the next fake pandemic is released. All right. So when I first heard about these micropins that they wanted to use, this was when they first talked about bringing out the toxin. And they were saying, well, we are coming out with this device that people can apply it at home without having to go to a doctor and without the pain of having that prick, that poke going into your arm. All right. So this is when I first heard about it. So this idea of micropins being used to administer the poisons were introduced when the toxin was first spoken about. They said that they wanted people to have easy access to the snake juice and to self-administer it with ease in the comfort of their home. It will also be good for those people who do not like pins, meaning pokes, being stuck. All right? Stuck with a pin, a major pin. Oh my goodness. As this device is practically painless. All right? So they're showing you how it's going to be applied on the skin, and then it goes from the epidermis into the dermis, which is the underlayer here, which has all the blood vessels, by the way. And each of these needle, well, see, I nearly called it. They have medicine in it, have their juice in it. All right? It has their snake juice in it. And here is it over here as well, showing you how it is applied. So you just press it on your arm, and then it releases, and then you can take it off. Or I don't know how long you keep it on for, but eventually you take it off, and now you have, as you see it here, it's taken off in this picture here, but you see these white things here showing you that it has released its poison. And then the poison can do its work. Now, I heard about this back in 2021, 2022, when but they weren't planning it for that particular time. That was just the time for them to introduce the idea, because they knew that a lot of people don't like being poked, right? So this would have been an option, or this will be an option in the future when the second hoax comes out. Not joking, there's going to be a second one, because they have to re-administer more poisons in order to bring people under their control, or people will be killed off, or people will have to go into hiding. Anyways, the earlier device that I saw looked like snake fangs filled with poison. So the one I saw was not this, but this is close enough because this is by the same people, right? But the actual pins look like snake fangs. And the thing is, when it looked like snake fangs, it really confirmed that these people are the snake people, right? Worshipping their snake gods. Whatever. You attach the patch directly onto your skin as you would a temporary tattoo. So remember back in the day when you were a child and you buy a piece of gum and it had this temporary tattoo, you just wet it with water and then you slap it on your hand. It's the same idea, except you don't need to put water on first. You just put it directly onto your hand. You clean your hand, of course, and then you put it on. Once those pins have penetrated your skin, then the poison is released, usually in the dermis area where there are capillaries that would distribute the poison throughout your body. So they don't need a lot because these things are able to multiply. Oh yes, they're able to multiply. Whatever they put in your system can multiply. So this is it here. So you see how small it is? Look at this, is this person's finger. But this is how small it will be. So these examples are to show you how small the patch will be and the tiny pins filled with poison of a sort to be applied to your skin. So this is it on his or her finger, but here is it flipped upside down. So all these are rows and rows of pins filled with poison. And I don't know if this is a circular looking one, but this came with the picture. But just to show you how small it is. It's as small as a tiny little patch. And to be applied to the skin. They will make it simple, easy to access, easy to apply, even without any professional observation or professional observing. So you'll be able to go, say, to a pharmacy and pick up this thing, or go, even you can pick it up from your doctors, what have you, clinic. They could have a bus with people or machine dispensing this stuff, what have you, because the Southern Kingdom will not be here when this is going to happen. All right. The whole thing is that people will have easy access to this poison. So they don't have to wait in line. They can just go to a machine and it will dispense itself out. Now this is coming for the next wave of a hoax. The hoax disease. Yes, it's coming. Don't think it's not coming. And now we've moved on to the electronic tattoo, which is a soft and wearable device with integrated sensors that attaches to the wearer's skin and transmits data wirelessly. These can be attached anywhere on the user's body and can be used to track anything from the body's electric impulses to the chemical composition of the wearer's sweat. Also, this device can be used to access or control devices. So once again, they want to turn us into partly machines so that we can access our devices. Heaven forbid if we have to turn on our phones and plug in our password. Heaven forbid. Too much trouble, too much energy wasted. So what are people going to do? You're now a walk-in password. What are you going to do with yourself? Everywhere you go, you're turning on devices. I'm not joking. No, not really. You'll be turning on your device, but still. I remember watching, this was back in 2023, I believe, when people had taken the talks on. This one guy said he went into his car and the computer in his car turned on. He went into this store that had televisions. Television started turning on because he was syncing with them. Whatever was in his body was syncing with the television, with his computer, and with his car and everything. So even though they would say your devices, this piece, what they're going to put in people is going to be a nightmare, because how is it going to differentiate from one person, from one device to another? All right. I know they'll say, well, it will have a number and you will only access that number. But then why is it then that this one guy, and it wasn't only him, but there are other people as well, I experienced the same weird event of going someplace and devices started turning on. Now that's one thing. What about the fact that you can be hacked into? Someone can hack into you. And not only that, how about the fact that someone now can control you? Because you have something so deep inside of you that you can't pull it out, you can't change it, you can't do anything. So now you're hackable and you're easy to control. And that's exactly what these devils want. Now we're going to go to the R-F ID chip. First introduced into our bank cards and our pets to normalize this very invasive device. Now it has opened to doors. This is really, this is worded funny. No, it has open doors wide open. That word to is not supposed to be there. All right. No, it has open doors wide open. The even greater and more sinister devices to introduce us to the digital world where nothing really exists. I know this is reading quite strange. So sorry about that. So now it's open the doors wide open to even greater and more sinister devices. That's what I meant to say. All right. And to introduce us to know what we call the digital world, where nothing really exists. Okay? It's digital. It's not real. All right. So you remember this? When this device first came out, it looked like as small as a rice grain. All right. People thought that it was the mark of the beast as it was placed in the hand. Although this is not yet the mark of the beast, it is the springboard for the mark of the beast technology, because they will come up with something that they're going to put in your hand or in your head or what have you. And we see that's already starting to happen. All right. It was and is used to desensitize people and at the same time cause people to marvel at such a tiny device that can improve one's quality of life with its conveniences. Because everything, you know, everywhere you go, you get a card. You go to the library, you get a card. You go to the bank, you got a card. You have if you belong to several banks, you have a card for every bank. Otherwise, you can't get access to your money. Right? You have wherever you go, they don't want to give you cards. Even cards for points, department stores, they give you cards. All these different places, they give you cards. So finally now you have this purse filled with cards of all kinds. So what they're saying, you can put all of this and more, all of those cards and more, the information from those cards, along with your own information, your personal information from your doctor, what have you. All of that can go on this one little rice grain chip there. And then you don't need to walk around with a wallet anymore. All right? You don't need to, because now this little thing in your hand will carry it all. So that's how easy they want it to seem to people. All right. Many people today are sold on the idea of having all that they need on a chip, easily accessible, never to be forgotten at home, because sometimes we forget our cards, or you might have two wallets and you might leave one at home, what have you, or you took the card out and you forgot to put it back in, but now you don't have that problem anymore, right? Portable and even forgettable, so you can go about your day without even realizing that you have this thing in your hand until you need it. Oh yeah, I have my information right here, and you scan your hand, right? This chip can be easily removed from one's body as easily as it was put in. And we see here how he's putting it in with this thing here. It looks like a dagger of some kind. But it goes in that fleshy part of the hand, between the thumb and forefinger. All right? Yet we cannot trust these devices to do nothing more than just that. Who knows what else it can do, which we are not told about. So yes, it looks like this here, just an object that it can be taken out. You can cut it out. But this is this old device here. The newer devices could have something else. All right? So we can't even say that, well, they can put it in, we can take it out. What if inside of this chip, there's a capsule that can release something inside of you? Some sort of liquid inside of you. A liquid filled with those bots inside of you. We don't know. Don't trust these criminals, because that's what they are. They're criminals. For one thing, the MOTB, which is the mark of the beast, will definitely be able to change a person inwardly, and that person will also be under the control of who owns the device to do what they're told to do. Because that person then who has taken the MOTB, the mark of the beast, are under control. They're being controlled, and they will be controlled. And they'll be told what to do and to think what they're told to think. Just like a cyborg. The toxin was given in 2021. The toxin that was given in 2021 is the MOTB, the MOTB, but not fully functionable as yet. All right? And I've said this to you, and I will say it again. The people that run the funeral homes, when they clean out the people's bodies, they pull out these long fibers, all right, that fill up the veins of these people that have died. All right, they're not CLOTS. No, they're not. They look like it, but he said when he rinses them off, it's this white fiber. And it doesn't disintegrate either. So that's the wiring. Okay. It will be completed and be established with the rest of its components when the beast rises. The toxin produces lengths of wiring inside a person's body in the form of CLOTS. All right? So let's look and see what these R.F.ID chips is going to do. So with these chips, it is said that now a person can have a digital ID. They've been talking about this in 2023 and onward. All right, everyone will have a ID, but it's going to be digital, where all their information can be stored in one place of convenience, portable and never lost. This digital ID will serve two entities, the government and financial institutions. The government, which will entail this person to have access to all government institutions, and with the banks, a person will have access to their money and all related banking affairs. In the future, the banks will be rolling out the CBDCs, which stands for Central Bank Digital Currencies, where it will replace all forms of physical money in every country on this earth. So this is the reason why you're going to have a digital ID. When I say have to have, you have an option not to take it. But if you want to live under the beast system and be a global citizen, as they will call it, although we know there's no such thing as a globe, you have to take this ID. You have to get this ID. And part of getting this ID is the toxin. You have to submit to the toxin. So this stands for Central Bank Digital Currency, where it replaces all forms of physical money in every country on this earth. Without this digital currency or access to it, you will not be able to buy or sell. So this is how they're going to control who buys and who sells. All right. And when we talk about selling, meaning you have to work. So you're selling your skills in order to make money. And in order for you to get the money, you're going to have a bank in order to access the money. So there is the buying and sell. You don't literally have to be a vendor, but the fact that you work, you're selling your skills. All right. It has already begun, as the Bahamas, Jamaica, and Nigeria are already using CBDCs, and more than 100 countries are already in the process of implementing this new form of money. We have Brazil, China, India, and the UK are at the forefront of it all. This is the way of the beast system that will be totally focused on technology and integrating mankind into their devices in order to control them. They will control all resources. So many people will submit. So we have here a person and they submit to getting this digital ID. It means now this is their identification here, fingerprint identification. Have access now to your phone, right? Which this here is a cell tower, all right? So it's showing you all the different access. This is showing you, this is literally an identification card. And here is, it looks like justice courts or what have you. But this is just to show you that you'll be able to I forgot what this is. I forgot what that was, that represented. But it is also, I think this is the government, to do with government and access to any government information or anything to do with the government, because you know we people, they make us pay taxes and what have you, and to get access to whatever institution that is there, right? This is what this represents, government. So all aspect of the life that we're living in right now, your identity, technology, even your fingerprint, your unique identity, your personal identity. All right. So here we have personally identifiable information. So this here is another person, digital identification or digital identity, what it comprises of. We have actions. Actions meaning whatever, like whatever you need to do, right? And this will go under like government, banking, what have you. Even to go and get a job and to get paid, all this under actions. Physical characteristics, because you know, one time, a long time ago, we had something called an ID card. That was the old-fashioned identification, okay? And on it, it would have your eye color, hair color, height, and whatnot. Those are your physical characteristics. Passwords, even device data, contextual information. All right. So all this will be on your digital identification. And yes, they're talking about it as something like a card or what have you. They even want to roll out a digital passport as well. And all of that will be part of your digital. In fact, you cannot have a digital passport unless you get a digital identity. That's how they're going to roll it out. So you will not be able to travel until you get this done. And you will not be able to get this done until you take the talks on. This is what it's going to come down to. All right, let's move on. If you follow the money, you will find that the Federal Reserves and central banks are owned, or what they say, or what they would say, they have major share owners, because they would say no one person owns the bank. They have share owners. All right. So you'll find that all these different major banking institutions, whether it's a central bank, Federal Reserve, they're owned. The major share owners will be something called Vanguard Group, BlackRock, State Street Corporation, and Berkshire Hathaway. These are only a couple of them. All right. These are the major share owners of banks and reserves worldwide. If you look closely at each of these major financial institutions, you will soon realize that they are major share owners of each other. I'm not joking. So Vanguard, The major share owners of Vanguard is BlackRock, State Street Corporation, and Berkshire, and vice versa. Oh my goodness. So they're keeping the money within the family, so to speak. And so you're led in this vicious cycle of share owners who are really only the poster children for the true owners, the Rothschilds, or the Rothschild, amongst other old money families. So all these old money families are all relatives of each other, and they're Nephilim. They're the children of the Nephilim. That's why they're so vile. And when you look at them, if you go and look at pictures of them, they look like old hags because all they do is drink blood all the day long. That's what they are. Old hags. They don't even look human to me. They look like creatures. And they all have that same look about them. Wickedness, that's what it is. For the record, all of these old money families are all relatives of each other, just that they are living in different regions and with different names. And they did this intentionally so that we would not know their true identity and realize that they are all related to each other and that they're the true owners of all these financial institutions and other major corporations. Like Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, and the Meta platforms are all owned by BlackRock. You think Hell's Gate guy owns Microsoft? He's the poster child of Microsoft. That's why he can jump into all kinds of other businesses that has nothing to do with computers. We have Geico Insurance, Duracell Battery, Dairy Queen are all owned by Berkshire Hathaway, which is owned by Warren Buffett. Another poster child like Gates. But they're all related to each other and they're still Nephilim, even though they're poster children. Yet they are all related and all confederate with each other to bring about their agenda called the New World Order. Now we know how they will get it all done. It is not the governments that are the puppet masters, but they are the puppets. The governments are the puppets. And these children of the Nephilim have their orders to control all of the major assets in the world in order to dominate the masses. So you see, when you turn on your television or you go and look at any interview by any of these people, all right, they're not in front of the camera on your behalf. They're not there to bring about a good life for us. They're there to roll out their agendas. They're all wicked together. And we saw it right in our faces in 2021, 2020, 21, 22, and 23. They were all there in front of our faces, on camera, lying to us through their teeth and moving the goalposts as it suits them. Do not be deceived. Whether the Bear Country, Israel, the Korean country, modern day Persia, or even the African countries, all leaders today are placed in position to carry out certain duties to ensure the success of the elite's agendas. Presidents and prime ministers are not elected, they are selected. It is for this reason why truth is being suppressed and or erased from the internet, and lies are being promoted. The truth is called conspiracy theory, yet they have no choice to express the truth in order to debunk it. They don't have a choice. They know the truth is out there because it's been out there for a little while. So they took it off the net, but now in order to debunk it, they got to bring it back. They got to say it does not mean this, and that. Even though people are saying it, it's all conspiracy theory. Just like what I showed you early on about the Project Bluebeam. In order to debunk it, they got to expose it. All right. Let's look at this next one. The human hybrid, mana technology. So the abomination that will make anyone who succumbs desolate. And by the way, that was my video that was taken down. All right. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it back up, if I'm going to do another one just yet. I have so much to take care of right now. Okay, so now we're moving on to what we call the neural dash link by the Musk man Elon Musk. All right. I'm trying to do things in a little weird way, but I hope you understand. So this is it here, this device. It will be planted in the brain to help with disabilities, or if you just want to integrate with your devices. Notice the symbol on this device. It is called the infinity symbol, which is an old Egyptian symbol. And then it became a Greek symbol, and they're all pagan, by the way, which represents death and rebirth. So this here, even though it has the straight line, this is an infinity symbol. That's what I'm telling you. Signs and symbols, they're in the world to let you know, or to actually, you will not know because if you're not paying attention. But they know that these symbols are sending a shout out to their devils. And not only to the devils, but to each other. This is how they communicate amongst each other around the world. All right, so this symbol here represents death and then rebirth. Now, it is this symbol here. This is called the Ouroboros, the snake eating its tail. Sometimes it's a snake, sometimes it's a dragon. Still the same creature. And this is the creature that they worship. Never mind the straight lines in the link chip, meaning this one here has a straight line instead of all curves. It is the same. This is the same as this. This is the same. This is the Ouroboros. All right. In other words, with this chip, you will die as a human, but be made alive or be reborn as a cyborg. That's what they're telling us. But we can't receive it because we trust this man called Elon. He looks like a good guy. He wants to bring advancements for us. He wants us to become special. All right? But he's a liar, and he is the child of darkness. Don't trust anything that comes out of these people's mouth. It's not for your own good. It's for your own destruction. They want you to die and be rebirthed as a cyborg. What kind of life will this be? Now, once you put this in your brain, look at this here. This is what they want us to think. That's now you have superpowers, just like that woman that talked about swallowing that pill, that tablet. You swallow it and you become like this. Superpowers. Now you can communicate with your devices without having to use words or anything. You can just think it and it will turn on. Because your brain is sending messages to the devices. And people would love that for whatever reason. I don't know why people will want that. A machine is a machine and people are people. And if people today are hacking into computers and different systems all around, or even government systems, what makes you think that someone wouldn't hack into you and do something nefarious or even kill you? Because all they have to do is press a button and you're done. Shut off your brain. All right. First, Yochanan, the book of John, chapter 5, verse 11. And this is the record that Alahayam have given to us eternal life, and this life is in his Son. He that has the Son has life, and he that has not the Son of Alahayam has not life. So this now is no longer life. This is no longer life. This is death and destruction. Okay, let's read more. How does the Neuralink brain chip work? 1. The brain consists of special cells called neurons that transmit signals to other cells in the body, like our muscles and nerves. So they put it in the brain here, and it transmits through our neurons. The electrodes of the Neuralink, this is it here. Yes, this is the electrodes, are able to read these signals, which are then translated into motor controls. So in other words, this chip now will help your brain to, because what they're saying with this, for people that are crippled in whatever form, whether from the neck down or from the waist down, when you put this in their brain, and with the help of this device, it can help them to walk again. All right? So that's the other side of the coin that they're using to cause people to want to use this device, because you once were a person that was walking, you had an accident, and now you can't walk anymore, you want to start walking again. So hey, there's a chip that if I put it in my brain, it can help me to walk again. And people will run for it. But anything that goes into your brain cannot be anything good. All right. So that's how they're saying now this chip now, they can read the signals and then translated it into motor controls. And this could control external technologies like computers or smartphones, or bodily functions like muscle movement. So not only would it help you to walk again, but it can also help you to turn on and control devices. You see, this wickedness, this is pure wickedness. Alahayam did not create this to be controlled by a device made by man. Who's controlling the device? We're not in control of the device once it's put in. Somebody else is controlling it. And because it's in the brain area, how are you going to get access to it? You can't just rip it out. So now you're stuck with a device attached to your brain forever until, 1, you die because they turned it off, or 2, you surrender and submit to them. Now we're going to move on to Frankenstein. You ever heard of Frankenstein? You know who Frankenstein was? He was a scientist, a crazy scientist. So this is what we're looking at, Frankenstein. We're looking at head, transplants, and cryogen X. I'm doing this because of, the algorithm, okay? So I heard about this only recently, that now they're wanting to do this thing called attaching a head onto a body. Like, seriously. All right? So let's look at it. The researchers believe that innovative surgery, and this was taken from the New York Post, by the way, will help patients with untreatable conditions like paralysis and certain cancers, as well as neurological diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So if you had any of those, you can chop your head off and attach it to a new body. Now, I came across this from the New York Post, where this company is creating a way to attach heads onto bodies, which we know from the previous study called sleeves. So where would they get the bodies from? They would obviously have to be sleeves. Bodies that were grown for particular purpose, which is something like this, or to upload your consciousness into it. Sleeves are disposable bodies created either in a man-made womb, whether they be naturally born, genetically, or cybernetically modified, or artificially created, to augment their users' physical or mental abilities, as well as grant new abilities altogether. So in the previous study, this is part one, programming and brainwashing. We went and we looked at this um, this particular Netflix show called Altered Carbon that talked about sleeves. And we know that they are introducing this idea of disposable bodies. Just go and look at that study. I was very thorough with that, okay? And they want us to think that our bodies are disposable. As long as we can preserve our mind, put it on a USB drive or something, and then upload it. They call it a cortical stack, but you know the idea. Upload it to another body, or heaven forbid, you cut the head off and attach it to a new body. The old body is not working, let's attach the head to a new body. And they can grow these bodies very easily now. They can grow these sleeves very easily now. Very, very easily. And we have a lot of people in this world, and you see them, and their sleeves. That's why they break down. They have to pull them in and send out another one. Some people say it's cloning. I don't know. But I would not disprove cloning either, because they've been cloning, and we're going to look at that in a little bit, in a little while. They've been cloning animals and fish. So if they do that with animals and fish, trust me, they're already doing it with humans. So I would not disprove, I would not say it cannot be done. But the problem with cloning is they cannot reverse time. So at whatever age this person was cloned, they will start their age at that particular age. So if a person who's 40 years old was cloned, then the clone will start its age at 40 years old. That's why they don't last very long, and that's why they break down easily as well. But they have a lot of clones. They have a lot of these bodies to spare. I'm telling you. You just got to go and look at these creatures. Listen, I just saw today, right? The president of the USA, you know, there's something off about that creature. All right? Something very off about it. And, you know, another person, they put together this beautiful video looking at people from the past and then look at them in the present time, and there's something off about them. Now, either one, they're clones; two, they're wearing rubber masks, silicone masks, and it's not them; or three, they're sleeves, what have you, or humanoid robots. One of the four, but it's not them. The original people are somewhere else or dead or what have you. We don't know. We don't know. But this is the Franken-science that is out there right now. And what we are seeing today is at least 50 years behind what they have already accomplished. All right, let's read on. Still have a little bit more ways to go. Although this idea of a sleeve is given to us through their programming, it is already a reality that is being utilized. Many people who are sleeping will not notice these strange anomalies with certain people in front of the camera. But those who are awake will notice changes in their looks, attitudes, slurring, nonsensible speeches, glitches, and any other strange behavior that cannot be explained. It's not like they're getting a stroke, because these people come back again and doing the same things over and over again. Some people believe that they are cloning popular people. When I say popular, I mean famous people, well-known people, which cannot be ruled out as they are already cloning animals and fish like salmon. So why not humans? This idea of head attachments is similar to cryogenics, which we have been told about for some time now, because you know the rich people, they don't ever want to die. If they have some sort of disease that cannot be cured, they want to live on forever. So they freeze themselves to come back in the future when there's a cure. Brain bridge just crossed over to show the next generation of their Frankensteins. All right, so I covered a couple things there. So let's look at animal-human hybrid. So we look at something called chimeras are being created in the name of science to help mankind. And I have not. Oh my goodness. Now look at this here. This is a chimera, right? So don't bother reading this here. I have it repeated over here. So I have the definition repeated. So a chimera is a hybrid, like an animal composed of two or more distinct genotype. The huge issue with this Frankenstein is that of utter abomination. So this here is an abomination. Mice are abomination. So in order for this mouse here to grow, this is supposed to be an ear growing on the back of this mouse. Now, in order for this mouse to grow this ear, it had to be made into a chimera, meaning human D-N-A- had to be introduced into it in order for it to grow a human ear. So now this here is a animal human hybrid. Chimera. For one thing, in order for the animal to be an ideal host, it will have to have human genes implanted, and the same for the recipient for the organ that is being grown in or on the animal to be compatible. So not only does the animal have to get the material from the human, but the human has to get the material from the mouse. The genes introduced into their system so that they can accept this. All right? And that it doesn't just stop there either. Let's read on. How do we know whether or not that once an animal grown organ is received by a human, will the genes of this animal be transferred to that person? There must be some common connection between the two in order for the organ to be accepted, even if only temporary, because the people always die. Oh yes, all the organ transplant, the heart transplant, plant died. They died. These animal organs will be connected to blood supply. Therefore, the blood that came with the organ that is of the animal will contaminate the recipient. So, in order for this thing to grow, it's attached to the animal's supply, blood supply. So, when this is removed now and attached to a person's body, whatever is in here will be flowing into the body of the person. So, that person now will have the blood of this creature here. All right. And will contaminate them. They may argue differently, but it doesn't take too much imagination to figure this out. It's just common sense. What keeps this alive? What keeps the air alive is blood. So and the blood from the animal. So in order for this now to remain alive, it has to be attached to the human body, and the blood supply from the air and the blood supply from the body of the person that is receiving it will mingle together. And now their blood is contaminated. Unbelievable. So now we're going to look at heart transplant, and now they're using pigs, the heart of a pig. Because of censorship on this platform, I will spell out words that could trigger the algorithm, which could mean my video being taken down, which they already have done with a few of my videos already. This is, after all, the devil's devices that I'm using to expose them, so this is to be expected. So this has already been happening. So don't worry about the reading here. I have it written out here on the slide. So this is the modified pig. and it's been modified by the GENES. All right. So in order for this pig to be modified, it had to be given human material. So 10 of the pigs GENES were edited. And then 3 glycosyl transferase GENES knocked out. That would have resulted in rejection. So, in order for the heart to be accepted, they had to take out 3 GENES, 3 particular GENES. And then 1 GENE is switched off to prevent excessive growth. They don't want the heart growing. And then 6 human GENES, meaning human material, to enable human acceptance. So they had to introduce human material in the pig so that when they take the heart out of the pig and put it in the human, it will be accepted. Can you imagine that? So now this pig is a human hybrid, it's a chimera. So now we're looking at this patient, and this actually happened. There's a patient who's 57 years old, ineligible for a human heart transplant or artificial heart. In the pig heart transplant, trans-plant was compassionate use effort to save his life. So they used the pig heart as a way to save his life because he was dying. However, he died on March 9th. So this transplant was done in January 7th, 2022 at the University of Maryland Medical Center, and by March 9th, he was dead. So he only survived about 2 months. So the patient lived longer than the first human heart trans-plant recipient. All right. So Debarayam chapter 14 verse 8. And the swine, meaning the pig, because it divides the hoof, yet chew not the cud, it is unclean unto you, and you shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. Leviticus chapter 11 verse 29. These also shall be unclean. Tama'a, meaning polluted, defile unto you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth, the weasel and the mouse and the tortoise after his kind. So turtles and whatever else that looks like a tortoise. These are all unclean animals, pig and mouse. And yet they want to use these animals to put their material inside of a human being. Unbelievable. If we cannot eat or touch these unclean animals, why are they being put inside humans? I'll leave that question for you to answer to you on your own time. Unbelievable, right? So let's look at robots and humanoid robots. And are these replacements for mankind? Let's see what they have. We have Boston Dynamics are the creators of these robots on the left. These machines are going to replace many people on different levels. Delivery drivers, packers, in warehouses, military, police, etc. And it's already happening. Already happening, etc. As these machines can do these jobs effortlessly. Some of these machines can be equipped with artillery, meaning guns and what have you, and have 100% accuracy using them. Even a stumble or a push will not change the intended course of their bullets. I watched a video, especially about this one here. It can run, it can jump, it can shoot with 100% accuracy. The guy pushed it and it was still able to shoot bullseye. They can run and even jump and navigate over and around obstacles with no problem. They can also be equipped with cameras or speakers to vocalize a command or whatever is needed. To go hand in hand with these machines are the drones that will pilot the air, while these ones will navigate on the ground to carry out curfews or however they will be programmed. So these will be programmed to do whatever curfews that they want to bring about on the earth. They're making them in masses now. right? Because they want to remove the human component when it comes to military. They're not going to remove all of them, but they're going to remove the greater number of, because a lot of the men that serve in the military and the armies and what have you, they have a heart. And some of the things that these creatures, the Nephilim, will want them to do, they just will not do it. They will not do it. So that's why they're going to have to replace a lot of people with machines, because the machines have no heart. You just program them to kill and they will kill. So now look at this one here. These are the humanoids. So these are the robots over here. And now these are the humanoids. Now we are on to the humanoid robots. What the devils have done is to put an idea in our minds that even humanoids will still look robotic, which is the programming that they deceived many people today. So this is the reason why they only give it a face, but the body looks like a robot. Same thing with this one. This one's called Sophia. This one here, evil, already possessed with demons. All of them possessed with demons as far as I'm concerned. But this one here hates humans. They confirmed this programming with Sophia, this one here, who is an official citizen of Saudi Arabia and who also hates humans. Right? Now the programming continues when they create these human-like bots that still look robotic. So this one, even though it looks like her, and it's supposed to be her, still looks kind of fake, doesn't it? And this one here looks fake. But the ones that they have today, they look totally human. But they're not going to show you those. So the programming continues when they create these human-like bots that still look robotic, artificial, and doll-like. They want us to think that they have not perfected the humanoids as yet, when in fact they have. There are some people that we see on television that have been replaced by humanoids. They are glitching on camera. That's how you know they're glitching. All right? The devils want us to feel comfortable with these machines that they have created, which can be and will be programmed to do their evil deeds. Remember the movie I, Robot? That tells you everything that they want to do with the machines to take over. They want technology to take over. So now we go to artificial love. People today are socially inept, and with the help of technology, this is a growing concern. But don't fear, the devils have a solution for this problem. Remember, problem, reaction, solution, strategy. That's what they do. So this woman here, I mentioned this before, this here is supposed to be a hologram that she's married to. All right? We're living in a world today where technology and its devices have caused severe damage to the social skills of many people. It will only become worse as each generation that is exposed more and more to these devices will withdraw more and more into themselves. Then they will crave companionship, but will not have the social skills to interact with their own peers or the opposite gender. But this problem was created for such a time as this, because if people got together, got married, then they will have children and the cycle of life will carry on, which is what these devils don't want happening. They want to break that cycle. The devils want to break the cycle of life, and they have done their work very well, from single families to now no families to speak of. We see a decline in births now in countries around the world. The solution for people is to get love wherever they can and however. Now, artificial intelligence is here to fill this void for some people where they can hook up with holograms and even marry them. So I'm going to do another study on artificial intelligence, because that is a big one. All right. This is a sad state of a fear for mankind, yet Alahayam will not allow this to continue for much longer. The great earthquake in seal number 6 will destroy these evil devices. Never, ever, nothing will ever substitute the love a man will have for a woman and a woman for a man. Yes, we were created different, yet we complement each other. Our relationship today may not be perfect because of sin and the sin nature within us. Yet Alahayam, in the midst of a relationship, will help us to get along. And this is the problem and the reason why people are surrendering to technology, because they don't believe. Look at this one here. These are the sex bots. All right. Although some people may chuckle at this growing trend of people hooking up with bots, it is indeed a sad affair. These people will be robbed of that human connection between a man and a woman, a real man and a real woman, a biological male and a biological female. The precious bond that cannot be reproduced with a device. This is a device. This is a device. I don't care how well you can program it, how human it could look. Well, this one doesn't look human. But this one, well, this one looks like one of those inflatable dolls. But anyways, it's supposed to represent a sex bot. All right? And there were others, but I just didn't want to show them because they were looking a little too sensuous. And I just don't want to present that idea here in this video. All right. But just to show you, this is where, and look at this, young man, young woman. And because of this generation, all right, this generation that has no skills, he doesn't have to talk to her because she doesn't talk. Or even if she talks, she'll be talking his language. So if only he knows about computers, because that's what he looks like, a computer geek. Again, he might not be. But whatever he's interested in, he can program her to talk about it. But for him now to go out there in the world to look for a woman with his similar interests, or will have some sort of interest, the same interest as him or similar interests as him, it can't happen. He doesn't know how to do it. So the easiest solution for him is to buy this machine and let it be his companion. And then he can program it to do whatever he wants it to do. Same thing with this one here. Right? It will be in their own minds that they think they are happy when indeed they are not, nor ever will be. He will never be happy with this here. And she would never be happy with that. Never. Bara'ashayah chapter 2 verse 22. This is the book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 20. Chapter 2 verse 21. And Yahawah Alahayam caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which Yahawah Alahayam had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And that is marriage. Marriage between a man and a woman. This here is an abomination. This here is a machine. And you will not be able to achieve what Alahayam has created for a man and a woman. The relationship for a man and woman. He can't have a relationship with this machine. She can't have a relationship with this machine. Impossible. Impossible. I don't care how well a program is written, it still cannot be a relationship. And will never be. Need we say any more? Without a relationship with Alahayam, people will fall and be destroyed. So these people here that are seeking relationship in machines will be the ones that are, they call themselves atheists, or they just don't believe that Alahayam exists. All right? And that's why people go to these extremes. All right, this is the one that I spoke about along in the last study. This woman married a rag doll. This Brazilian woman. So apparently, but he is not, this rag doll is not the first one she had. She had another one before this. All right. So this Brazilian woman was complaining constantly to her mother of her lack of a love life. She wanted a dance partner, someone to go out with and whatnot. So her mother made her this rag doll. The mother made this, which she eventually married, had 250 guests at this wedding. So this is her in her wedding outfit. This here is the wedding. You see a clearer picture here. There are people, actually people here. Unbelievable, right? She had her first ragdoll baby out of wedlock. So listen, this woman, this woman has a pure drama. All right. So when she was introduced, when the mother introduced her to this rag doll, so apparently she got pregnant out of wedlock. Now, like seriously, I mean, if you're gonna stretch your imagination to that length, right? You would think that she would do it in a more wholesome way. But these people, as you can see, who she is, all right, they have no, they don't believe. They can't believe. They don't believe. So having a child out of wedlock, whether it's fake or not, means nothing to them. It's normal. So then she got married, right? She got married to her rag doll. I actually went and looked at videos. So she was at the wedding. They had their first dance together. He was on this, this, it's like a gurney. I think it's I don't know. I don't think it's called a gurney, but it has wheels. It has two wheels, and usually people that want to bring like stacks of boxes, they can stack it on this thing and move it from place. I forgot what it's called, but she had him hooked up to that, and she was dancing with him at the wedding. And people were there sitting around. I like either they are there for observation to see this crazy woman, or they're just as crazy as she is. I don't know which one to think, but this is it here. All right. So she had the first ragdoll baby out of wedlock. This is insanity on a whole new level, as this woman has built a life around a ragdoll, which is purely fantasy. You can find videos online about her insane accusations about him being unfaithful. How he is stressed after their twins were born. So she had the first ragdoll and then she had twins. We're going to see that in the next picture. And much more. This woman has built a complete story behind this. Is her showing this. This is supposed to be a pregnancy. The picture is cut off, but pregnancy strip to show that she's pregnant. Oh well. This is what the elite would love for us all, to live in a fantasy world, to have fake relationships that are very flawed. She couldn't even imagine a perfect marriage. So even with a rag doll, she claimed that he was unfaithful to her while she was in the hospital giving birth to the first child. I'm not joking. It's out there. She's put it out there, okay? So and then she said that he's lazy, he doesn't like to work. And then he's stressed because of the three children, blah, 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 right? This woman she can't even imagine a perfect marriage. Can you imagine? I don't mean to stay too long, but I just want to show you the insanity that is out there. He doesn't have feet, by the way. He doesn't have feet. And these are the three children. And this is it here. Oh my goodness. Look at it. Look at it there. This is the wedding night. This is after she gave birth. She has a whole video about that. I'm not joking. She has a whole video about her giving birth to this thing here with a unibrow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Like seriously, I don't know. What else can we say? I covered up her legs because she was exposing herself. So the sad thing about this, about all this, are the people who support her in this insanity, going to the wedding with a rag doll, a gender reveal party. She even had that, and a relative holding the first rag doll baby. It is bad enough that this woman who is in need of help is supported in her delusions by family members and friends. It goes to show that they are all delusional to go along with this. And then again, this could be a stunt to gain TikTok subscribership and views, a ploy to make money, but she's not the first person who has done this, and now it is out there. And she's featured in a lot of like television shows and newspapers and what have you. She's out there. So who knows, right? But I'm just showing you the crazy things that people are doing today. This is it close up of the odd couple. I mean, like, look, just, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. A woman who married a rag doll admits their family life is complicated after she had twins and says her husband is stressed about providing for the family. And then she turned around and said that he's lazy. He doesn't work. He doesn't do anything. She's the sole breadwinner. All that nonsense. Oh my goodness. I mean, like seriously, this is the way of the world now. The way of the world. Let's move on from her. Now we're going to look at artificial reality. And this is exactly where she is living in. She's living in an artificial world. And this is exactly what these devils want us to do. They stress people to such a point, right? That they don't want to live in this reality anymore. So they look for another reality. And they are more than happy to give you another reality. So don't face reality, don't face the world, pretend and fantasize to forget the truth about what is going on around you. So, heaven forbid, people seeing all the horrors that are going on, and instead of falling on their faces and giving their hearts to Alahayam Yahawah, even though a lot of them just can't, right? And of course they don't. So they submit to the suggestions of the wicked, of the Nephilim. So look at this machine now, this device. And this is the headset. Now we enter into the cyber world where people can escape reality. Now I watched a movie some time back before this was put out. It was called Ready Player One. It was not a bad movie. There's nothing really sinister, but it is there to program our minds that this is the next world. This is coming in to the world to help people that will be stressed by what is going on in the world to escape. They don't have to live in this world. So, Ready Player One, which was about the same idea of escaping reality. The people in this movie were living in a time which looked draconian. They lived surrounded by trash and in trash. And some of them escaped this world of trash to enter into a cyber world where their helplessness and hopelessness were transformed in them. They acquired great skills and abilities to do what they wanted to do. Whatever they wanted to do, they can do it in this cyber world. It was a fantasy, of course, yet it was treated as if it was true life, as these people had nothing else to live for. All right. Now, the owner of Facebook, which was rebranded to be Meta, brought to the world on this device here, metaverse, using this headset. It is technology that came about early 2020 when the world was reeling from the greatest hoax ever pulled worldwide. Worldwide. You know that hoax. You know what it is, right? All right. People were introduced to an alternate reality where they could escape and forget their stresses and problems. So now when you look at the logo, this is the logo for Metaverse. Metaverse is that alternate, they call it alternate universe, right? But they call it Metaverse. And this is the logo. Now, does this look familiar? Does it look familiar? It is, in fact, the Ouroboros. Let's see if I can find it. The Ouroboros, which is found on the brain chip. And this is it here. Ouroboros. So you see how everything is connected. You just got to look at the logos. Just look at the logos. And it tells you everything you need to know. That there's nothing good in this device. Only sheer wickedness. Death and rebirth. Because besides this headset, they're going to introduce something that you don't even need a headset. Just plant it in your brain. And then you can literally live in an alternate universe, in an alternate world without this headset. So you'll be sitting there looking comatose, but you're living in another world. A completely different world. Whatever world you want to create, you can create. However you want it to be, you can be. You don't even have to be who you are. You could be an animal. You could be anything you want to be. With superpowers, super abilities, and you don't even need to come out of it. You can just sit there and waste away until you die because you're living in an alternate world, eating fake food. You go in the in the alternate reality, you're going to the restaurant and you're eating food and you're doing all what, so you don't feel that you need to eat food. You're too absorbed into this fake reality. So eventually you waste away. This is and of course, that's physical death. This is wickedness, unbelievable wickedness. And then you see people with this thing on, right? And they're walking the street or they're sitting on the train and they're doing strange things with their hands as if it's cool. It doesn't look cool. Imagine wearing this outside your house. Why leave home? All right. Let me see where I left off. Look at the logo for Metaverse, which should tell you all you need to know who is really behind this device. Ouroboros, death, then rebirth. It's supposed to be rebirth, right? So they're going to take away this visor and they're going to put it directly in the brain, just like what we saw with the brain chip. That's why they both have the same logo, because this device is going to replace those visor. And you see how the brain can project messages to the device. It'll be doing more than the projecting device. It'll be more than projecting commands and what have you to the devices. You now can create your own reality in your own brain using, it wouldn't be this in particular, but they can create, or they probably even have it already, another device. But it's all one and the same. That's why this has the same logo as Metaverse. This is not a coincidence. This is all intentional. All right? All intentional. It's pure wickedness. So we're almost finished. This is the last slide. Technology is here to stay until Alahayam Yahawah destroys it by seal number 6, the great earthquake. In the meanwhile, we as believers of Alahayam Yahawah need to do our due diligence to know what is being used against us so that we can know how to react and reject what is being proposed to us. At face value, these ideas from these devils may seem harmless, convenient, helpful to prolong life, protective, providing help with relationship issues, and many more narratives that we have been inundated with for the last few years at the least. Not only are we given narratives, but the devices to help us along the path to find true happiness and contentment. But they are all lies. The reason why the world's populations are ripe for every and any programming and brainwashing is because of the lack of believing in Alahayam Yahawah. From the moment when praying and reading the Bible were taken out of schools many years ago, it started the snowball rolling down a very precarious mountain where now mankind is seeking other options because they have totally rejected him and even his creation. They call the Bible a fairy tale book. That's in the minds of a lot of people today. And that's why they are attached to technology. Let's look at 1 Yochanan chapter 4, verse 12. No man has seen Alahayam at any time. If we love one another, Alahayam dwells in us, and his love is perfected in us. Hereby know we that we dwell in him and he in us, because he has given us of his Ruach. The only person to dwell within us is Alahayam, whether Alahayam Yahawah or Ruach HaKadosh or Hamashiach. Nothing else. And we have seen and do testify that Abba sent the Son to be the Savior of the world. Whosoever shall confess that Yahawah is the Son of Alahayam, Alahayam dwell in him, and he in Alahayam. And this is the reason why people are succumbing to the technology today, because they have rejected Alahayam. And if they reject him, and they reject his Bible, the words that he sent to this earth, obviously they're going to reject the Son. Verse 16. And we have known and believed the love that Alahayam has to us. Alahayam is love, and he that dwells in love dwells in Alahayam, and Alahayam in him. Herein is your love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. So he is righteous and holy, so we must be righteous and holy too in this world. Now, we know that the Bible is written for Yashraal. At the same time, Gentiles, if they get their hands on it and they read it and they at least believe in him, they can still be preserved, either to return in the white throne judgment, or to continue living until it is over. All of this is over. All right? Continue living and be preserved, at least for the 1,000-year reign of Hamashiach. They will still die eventually, but at least they will die in righteousness, right? Because they believed in Alahayam, and he preserved them. And they were able to be preserved for the 7 worst years this earth will ever see. The rising of the great, the beast empire and the anti-Messiah, the war that they're going to wage against the northern kingdom, and then all the different judgments that will be coming. They'll be able to survive them if they believe in Alahayam. Still got to go through them, but they will be able to survive them. But the problem is, A lot of Gentiles today, they reject the Bible, so therefore they reject Alahayam. And the same thing goes with our brethren. Many of them have rejected either the Old Testament or the New Testament. And a lot of them have rejected Hamashiach. So you reject Hamashiach, that's it, you're done. There's no way in for you. He is the door. The only way to the Father is through him. And you cannot be righteous in your own righteousness. Our righteousness is as filthy rags. The only righteousness that Alahayam Yahawah accepts is the righteousness of his Son that clothes us when we believe in the Son. And we accept the atonement that he's paid for us, that he has made for us by his death on the stake. Second Peter chapter 1 verse 5. And beside this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to your virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience righteousness, and to righteousness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness love. For if these things be in you and abound, they make you that you shall neither be barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Adawan Yahawah Hamashiach. So it all comes back to Hamashiach. Always comes back to him. The Father has placed all things beneath the sun. And without the sun, we can't get even near the path of righteousness. No, this is the ending. Sorry, I got to read this last verse here, last line. Despite all this evil that is surrounding us, we have hope. For we walk in the fullness of the knowledge of Yahawah Hamashiach, and because of this hope in him, we shall be redeemed. Hallelujah. He said, when you see these things begin to happen, he said, look up, lift up your heads, for your redemption draws near. All right. Now, like I said before, I am doing this particular study because Alahayam Yahawah wants me to do it. 1. 2, people need to know the truth. A lot of people are looking at all these different events and even phenomenal things happening and attributing it to something else. They don't understand that the powers that be are bringing about this turbulence in the world. These disturbances, because they are rallying together their agendas and they're assembling their plans to bring about the one world government and the anti-Messiah. All right? Now, if we take these things as nothing or see them as just coincidences, you have been programmed. I'm not joking. Someone who is not programmed will see it for what it really is, because that's the truth. All right? That is the truth. So that's the ending of this study. And we're going to close with the blessing for Yashua taken from Madabar chapter 6 verses 24 to 26. Numbers chapter 6 verses 24 to 26. Yabarakak Yahawah wa Yashamarak. May Yahawah bless you and keep you. Ya'ar Yahawah panayo alayak wa yachanak. May Yahawah cause his face to shine upon you and have favor upon you. Yasha'a Yahawah panayo alayak wa yashamlak. Shalawam. May Yahawah lift up his face upon you and give you peace. And now I'm going to read to you the command that we need to recite when we lie down, when we get up, when we go out, and when we come in, taken from Alahayam chapter 6 verses 4 and 5, Deuteronomy chapter 6 verses 4 and 5. Shama'o Yashwa'al Yahawah Alahayam Yahawah Achad Wa Ahabath Ath Yahawah Alahayak Bakal Babak Wabakal Napashat Wabakal Ma'adak. Hear, O Yashwa'al, Yahawah our Alahayam is one Yahawah, and you shall love Yahawah your Alahayam with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And with that, I will say, Shalawam, Shalawam. All praises to the Most High. Abba Yah.